Welcome back to Recovering from Everything, a podcast for everyone who has had anything happen to them ever. I am Kinga. Today, you guys, today's a special day. Today, we are celebrating 12 years in recovery, 12 years of sobriety, 12 years not doing any drugs. And that's a big deal for me. And so to honor that and the experience of many, many sober people in the world, I'm going to do a bit of a reflective podcast, and we're going to look at 12 times in the last 12 years that I should have gotten really drunk. Let's go. Okay, I sometimes am long-winded, which works occasionally well for a podcast, but I will try to keep this short because 12 is a big number and I could really talk about these things for a very long time. So, number one, really super great reason where I definitely should have gotten drunk about it was the day that I got sober and how freaking embarrassed I was. And I was very embarrassed on that day, but it also just compounded into the decade and a half of all the other times I was embarrassed this exact same way. Just for some reason, I was 28 and I guess I didn't think it was that adorable anymore. And I don't think anybody else did either. So, if you have a testimonial about how not cute my drinking was around you or in your life, please feel free to send that to me. I would love to make an amends. I've made many amends. I just want you guys to know. Some people told me to go fuck myself, and some people were very forgiving and gracious. Okay, so the morning that I woke up with a violent hangover, I felt so disgusting about myself that would have been a really great reason for me to get drunk. Really great. I didn't. Number two, about a year into my sobriety, we were trying to have a baby and I got pregnant and then I miscarried and that sucked. There was like a cramping and then there was bleeding and my husband at the time and I ended up going to the emergency room only to have a shitty fucking doctor be like, wait, you're not pregnant. And I'm like, well, the pregnancy test said I was pregnant. And then instead of a urine test, they did a blood test. And they were like, yes, this hormone is depleting. So you are having a miscarriage. And then the physical miscarriage happened. That would have been a great reason for me to get very fucking drunk because that was actually the one of the weirdest things that has happened to my body. I cried and cried and cried all night. I think actually the first thing I did is go buy a pack of cigarettes because I was smoking at the time. So the lesser of the evils, maybe. Anyways, I went and bought a pack of cigarettes and yeah, I remember in the car on the way to the emergency room. Remember that band Bastille? Bastiille. Anyways, they have a song called Bad Blood and it was on in the car. And my husband and I were both like, just turn that down. Anyway, miscarriage, great reason to get drunk. Did not get drunk. Definitely smoked a bunch of cigarettes though. Okay, number three. I got pregnant with my daughter about a month later. She was born. If you've got kids, you might understand this. Once your kids are born, a ton of your own shit gets brought to the surface. And I was not forced, but I opted to, after feeling very terrible about myself, to go into trauma specific therapy called EMDR. Really cool, kind of feels sort of hokey when you're doing it, but if you stick with it, there's a lot of good that can come from it. But what happens while you're doing trauma therapy is you go back to the traumas. Uh, we only did a couple of mine. Thank goodness. Otherwise, I would have been paying for therapy, probably still. But uh, you basically like kind of rewire your emotions and your sort of experience of it. And there's a really cool part where you get to kind of go, as an adult and sort of save yourself or nurture yourself or soothe or whatever. Anyways, having all that, like I was coming home from EMDR and like napping, like it was the most exhausting process. Again, completely worth it. For me, I just sort of, signed off that I would give myself to this process and not have any sort of blocks or anything. So it got super, super intense to both revisit some of that stuff. Um, but it was pretty magical to be able to sit with the little version of myself and comfort her. And if there is ever a great reason to get really, really drunk, it is trauma, experiencing it, remembering it, all of it. Great excuse to get drunk. Didn't do it. Not long after that was the dissolution of my marriage. If you were one of my OG listeners, you know all about it. I think I shout out my ex husband a lot. And I also had his wife on the podcast to talk about being a stepmom. So if you are interested in those, I think the episode is called like divorce, like recovering from my divorce. And it was kind of my whole experience there. And then the episode with his wife is called Stepmomming, because naturally being a stepmom is a completely different experience than it is to be someone's bio mom. So the dissolution of my marriage, great reason to get drunk. Divorce, life altering changes. Um, I mean, that was basically just handed to me on a silver platter, but I didn't. And I think a part of it was I was, despite the pain and the heaviness and God, there was just so much, so much pain, you know, inflicting pain on someone, receiving their pain about your pain, receiving their pain about, their perspective of your marriage. Fuck, that sucked. Um, Not to mention that I moved out of our matrimonial home and then was living on my own, being by myself. Being by myself as a divorcing woman, amazing reasons to get drunk. Amazing reasons. Did not do it. I actually was able to find really big moments of peace in that change. I knew it was right. Again, despite it all, I knew it was right. And living by myself was possibly the safest that I had ever felt. So for the first time in my life. Um, Also, it was all like nice, nice, like girly things. And my shit was so organized. And like, I have this like cute eye for design. And my daughter had her little fucking room. And it was a girl's house. And I really love that. And I don't live with anyone but my daughter. And I don't know. That's certainly not changing anytime soon. So, uh, great reason to get drunk. He handed to me on a silver platter. Did not get drunk. Number 5. About 8 seconds after we separated, after I moved out, my ex-husband started dating another woman. Great reason to get drunk, you guys. Yes, we're amicable. Yes, everything was lovely. Still not great for the self-esteem. Not that great. No matter who you are, how strong you are, how confident you are, I I would never say that that was a good feeling. I was excited for him to be happy. That's all that I want for him ultimately, not at the expense of my own, but you get it. And at first I was like, yay, that's so cool. And then I was like, this feeling is weird. Um, okay. The new woman, great reason to get drunk. Great reason. Didn't do it. Didn't do it. And I think I shared this in one episode. I even had this, the more I started learning about her and how wonderful she was, I remember driving one day and I had this image of, they're both very tall, of this like just tall, sort of like power couple raising my daughter. And I was like, I should just not be in this world anymore because I'm so fucking redundant. Like it was like, yeah, suicidal ideation, great reason to get drunk. I didn't do it, and as you can see, I'm still here. It's the suicidal ideation, honestly, is just like, it's kind of always been there, so it doesn't even, uh, cause me to take any type of action. But I was just like, I am actually in immense amounts of pain about this, because that was alarming. Um, Also, kind of tagged into that was, the loss of my ex-husband, knowing that the relationship is going to forever be very different, right? Which naturally it should be. He's, dating someone, but also realizing that I had like no friends. Like all of our friends were his friends. They were his friends. They were his friends. I had some of my own girlfriends, and some of them have sort of stood the test of time. And there were some girls that kind of like came out of the woodworks, to sort of, they were blessings at that time for sure. But definitely realizing that I had no local friends, nobody to chill with. Didn't feel great. Having no friends, great reason to get drunk. You're getting drunk by yourself. That's the best. So I did not do that. Thank goodness. Um, After that, so number 6 just says like really bad boyfriends. So I dated a couple of people that it was, and they might say the same about me, but for me, it was a very horrific experience for me to be in relationships with them. Activated central nervous system, to say the least. Okay. So that sucked, dating these kind of, the word violent comes to mind, but some of it was never violence with me. It was like verbal violence, like not physical violence with me. It was either like verbal violence or like physical violence with like the things around us, which it no thanks. No thanks. Been there, done that. Didn't No, 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 no. So I had a couple of like just really, and they were short-lived, maybe 4 or 5 months, but bad enough, bad enough, bad enough that those 4 or 5 months felt quite long. And bad boyfriends, great reason to get drunk. Didn't do it. I don't even think I thought about it. Which brings me to number 7. I was sort of seeing in a long distance kind of way, this man who was so lovely. He was so lovely. But he, naturally, it was like literally the other side of the country. Uh, it was difficult. I mean, we talked on the phone for like 2 months basically. So, oh my God. Okay. Oh my goodness. I was late for a meeting. So now I'm back. My camera might be in a different position. My hair is suddenly down. It just is what it is. Okay. Where did we leave off? Oh, yes. Breakups. Okay. Yes. The long distance. Oh my God. Okay. So, this was just like one of the weirdest days of my life. And I had the strongest craving to drink that I have had in my entire recovery. So I was long distance dating that boy, extremely long distance, literally lived on the other side of the country. I had no business doing that. And my ex husband had just gotten married, Love that. Love that journey for them. And I had just come back from Vancouver from visiting this boy, and they were heading to Vancouver for their honeymoon. Anyways, so this one great day, this guy, texted me or called me in the morning and was like, listen, it's done, and broke up with me. I got my ass broken up with, which is, again, completely fine. We lived across the country. What did I think was going to happen? So I get dumped in the morning, and then my ex-husband and his wife are on their honeymoon in Vancouver. We had started getting very close. We were working really hard on our relationship. So this was a completely normal thing that happened. They sent me a selfie of them in front of that stupid steam whistle tower that everyone's like, oh, did you go to the steam whistle tower in Vancouver? And it's like, literally, it's like a nothing thing. Anyways, so I was like, we had been making fun of it like the week prior. Sorry if any of my listeners are in Vancouver. That steam whistle tower thing is stupid. The clock tower. Anyways, so I get broken up with in the morning, and then that evening, ouch. And then that evening I get a selfie of my ex-husband and his wife in front of that tower thing, and they're like making a silly face because haha, we all laughed about how stupid it was. And so I went into a very dark, I plummeted and wanted to get so drunk. I felt so lonely. I felt extremely alone. I felt just like there suddenly this void in my life was like very, very, very obvious, right? So I really, really, really wanted to get drunk. At the time, I was a very heavy smoker at that time, and for many years preceding that, and for a few years after that. But I was a very heavy smoker, and I had this crazy craving to drink. And I managed to find some running shoes that existed in my house for some reason. And it was February in Canada. And I instead went for a run. I call it running for my life because it was either go to the liquor store and get very, very drunk, or run for your life. So I ran for my life. I put my ear pods in. I shoved my phone into my sports bra, and I listened to Against Me, my favorite, the only punk band I like, probably. And I ran for my life. And so I got dumped in the morning, and then I got a selfie of my ex-husband and his wife on their honeymoon. I should have gotten drunk. I should have gotten drunk. Should have gotten drunk. I did not. Next, job promotions, career stuff. I have had a very beautiful trajectory in my career since getting into this substance use recovery space. It's all been up. It's all been up. Many things to celebrate, many promotions, many cool career milestones, recognition, even starting my own business, and, struggling and then doing well, and then next level of struggle and then do well. All of my career truly in this space has been something to celebrate. You know what people love doing when they celebrate? They love getting drunk. So I could have gotten drunk many, many, many times. I think the thing that didn't even let my brain go that direction is the fact that my entire life is built on being a woman in recovery, and my own sober journey, and getting over, all of those types of hurdles. So lots to celebrate. Will not be getting drunk about it, but definitely could have. Number 9, vacationing alone. If you follow me on Instagram or have listened to any episodes of this podcast, you know that I vacation alone a lot. I prefer it that way. I'll take my daughter annually on a little vacay. I love that. She is so great to travel with. But I also do love to go alone. I've been doing it for years, probably 7 or 8 years now, where I'll take a very Kinga trip and do very Kinga shit. And I love it. So, no accountability, no one to, monitor me, no one to be a certain type of way for vacationing alone. I could get drunk all day and all night and literally nobody would know, except that I video every second of every trip and post it to my Instagram stories. But in theory, no one would know. Um, Great times for me to get drunk is when I'm by myself. Alas, I really like treating myself well, and my vacations are spent doing really Kinga shit, things that Kinga wants to do, and eating really good food, and sleeping, and walking, and figuring out the transit system and stuff like that. So it would be the perfect opportunity for me to get drunk, for days. Don't even think about it. Not even once. Oh goodness, this is a big one. So, fear, fear slash imposter syndrome. So, this happens to me every time. Every time I get a new client, I'm so excited for them, and they're so excited to be in the space and to work together. And the dopamine rush is so high that when I crash, it's met with imposter syndrome and this like tidal wave of imposter syndrome. Um, Washes over me, which doesn't make any sense because I am coaching women on changing their relationship with alcohol because that's my life. That's my personal experience. And that has been my entire decade long career. So it doesn't make any rational sense for me to feel like an imposter, but I do. And the fear of that and the any sort of like remnants of deep seated shame I'll get to come to the surface, and it's so like, and I like observe it happening too. I'm like, oh fuck, here we go, and I don't put too much weight on it because it just is so ludicrous. But fear, imposter syndrome, I'm not good enough, they're going to hate me, they're going to hate this, they're going to think I'm stupid, this is stupid, whatever. All great reasons to disconnect from reality, from my feelings, to step out of my own skin and my own thoughts for a moment, and get super drunk. But I don't. I instead get my stupid, like, get my mindset journal and journal, write lists, draw pictures. Sometimes I make a mean stick figure Kinga, and I sort through it. I don't get drunk about it. Number 11, and this has been a really interesting one. So, my own recovery, especially at the beginning, was very indoctrinated with abstinence. And it was very black and white for me for a very long time. And I didn't take a beat to actually look at that or think about it until I started really getting into the industry. Um, so honestly, probably maybe 3 years into my career, I started being open to seeing that there were like gray areas for other people. So I do a lot of work on I guess you would call it moderation. From my perspective, I help women develop a sense of self understanding and a level of self love so that if they do drink, when they do drink, they don't want to harm themselves, harm their bodies, harm their lives, put their lives at risk, put their health at risk, all that. So, and sometimes that looks like drinking in moderation. So I do a lot of work, especially in the last couple of years, and especially now with group coaching, uh, with helping women to basically control whether they drink or whether they decide not to, and if so, how much, and um, basically like harm reduction, moderation. But like it's bigger than that. That's just kind of like the surface level answer. Anyways, so a lot of my time is spent about is spent talking about, celebrating other people's milestones for not getting drunk. So maybe they did drink, but they didn't get drunk. Or maybe, last week I only drank twice or whatever, right? And I celebrate all these big wins and big milestones with them. And a few times now, I've been like, I don't want to say envious, but it just kind of sits with me maybe for longer than is good for me. Because I love abstinence. I love that journey for me. I don't do anything in moderation. So even I'll start a TV show, and it's like, oh, 6 seasons, challenge accepted. I'll be done in 48 hours. So I'm very much that level of dedication. So I don't think that, a moderation situation would work for me because, like, I've said it before and I'll say it again. What the fuck is the point of one glass of wine? Like, what? Like, anyways, I'm drinking for the effect, not because I love grapes or whatever. I love grapes. Anyways, I, based on my own techniques with other people, I would have great reasons for me to start drinking again. And I don't. And I don't want to. For me, that would suck. I also don't want to feel that wobbly, kind of woozy sort of like detachment from reality. So I don't. I love this for other people. I love it for other people. But the way that I work with people is like, what's best for you? And I know that what's best for me isn't trying to find putting all that time, energy, and effort into trying to find a balance in my relationship with alcohol in this, like, new relationship. And what does that look like? And what do I do and when and schedules and how am I feeling and blah, blah, blah. That's not for me. I'm busy. I'm raising a child. I'm running a business. I got a podcast, which I apparently am now doing videos on. I have a social media account. I have 2 Facebook business pages. Like, I got shit to do. I don't want to add into the mix this relationship with alcohol. It just feels like a ton of fucking work, and nah. I'd rather crush 6 seasons of a TV show in 2 days. And finally, number 12. Hasn't it been long enough? I've been doing this shit for 12 years. Like, are we done yet? Are we done? Are you done? Are you done with this shit, Kinga? It's been long enough. Maybe you could drink like a normal person again. Maybe we don't have to dedicate our lives to personal development anymore. I am disgusted that those words even came out of my mouth just now. But truly, 12 years is like, okay, we get it. We got your point. You made your point. But I know that that's a, like, very self-sabotagey version of me, that one little voice that's like, don't forget you're a fuck up. Don't forget you're going to fuck it up. You fuck up everything and this is going to be no different. How are you going to drop the ball here too, sweetie? So it's this self-sabotagey part of me where I'm like, if I look at my life in sobriety and recovery and my commitment to personal development and the development of my business and the ongoing mindset transformations that I have to make, if I'm going to continue to be healthy, I would never leave this behind. Like, my whole entire beautiful life can be traced back to this one moment where I woke up 12 years ago and was like, I'm done. I'm done. Everything. The house I'm sitting in, I pay my mortgage, this stupid wallpaper that I can't even show you that wall because I fucked it up so bad. But this wallpaper I paid for, all those fridge magnets with all the different locations that we've traveled, and all the pictures my daughter drew back there of me. They're all of me and her. It says my name on a bunch of them. Like, that connection with my daughter, all those travel places, the mortgage, this fake rose gold Apple Watch, like all of it the fact that I even have the confidence to sit here and record a podcast that I don't even know who's listening to, right? Like, it could be anyone. You could be sitting out there, like, hating me. And I'm still like, I'm just going to keep doing this. Everything that I have is based on a decision I made 12 years ago. And sure, it's been 12 years, but it hasn't even been nearly long enough for me to see the fullest influence on my life that one decision had. I've only been here for 12 years. Like, has it been long enough? No. Give me more, right? Classic Kinga. Give me more. Anyways, no, it's not been long enough. Cheers to 12 years. Ironically, I just said cheers. I might edit that out. Cheers to 12 years. And thank you for listening. And I hope that you have received something in here that is helpful for you to look at your own life and be like, well, shit, getting drunk is being handed to me on a silver platter right now. Maybe I don't necessarily need to take it. Thanks for listening to another episode of Recovering from Everything, a podcast for everyone who has ever had anything happen to them, ever, including so many reasons to blow up your life and choosing not to act on them. See you soon. Oh, I might not record a podcast next week. I am on a small vacation with my daughter. So unless I really get my act together in the next few days and record a podcast to be published at a later date, which I don't want to, so I will not be doing that. There will be no podcast for the next 1, possibly 2 weeks. So maybe see you in a week, maybe see you in 2 weeks, maybe see you in 3 weeks. I'm consistent now, so it's coming. It won't be another 3 months. Okay. Love you.